What is up, Wizards fans? This is Matt Bernal. I'm here with DJ. I'm back from vacation. You guys had a much better person doing this, and Eli. Shout out to Eli for filling in here. He's a journalism student at the University of Maryland, so you're going to be seeing a lot of him in the journalism field coming forward or moving forward. So it's just great for him to get a little experience and exposure, and he's been helping us a ton behind the scenes this year. So it's just really nice to get Eli a little FaceTime. Hope people liked that, and we're nice to our guy. And DJ, thank you for coming on here and getting this thing rolling. I'm excited to get back into it, and this is a fun one for me. I missed, I've only seen recaps of the last couple games, so I'm excited to get back in with the Spurs tonight and see a little Wemby, Koulibaly, Sarr, French, battle here. So how are you?
I mean, I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on again. It's definitely going to be a French connection, tonight, right? Let's not forget Sarr in the mix there too.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we'll get to that because I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a particular matchup that I'm actually looking forward to. So, welcome back, man.
Yeah, good to be back. It seemed like a little bit of a mixed bag from what I could tell, especially from Wizards Twitter reaction to especially the Kyle Kuzma return. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. It's always brought to you by Stateside Vodka and their Surfside hard iced teas, hard lemonades, hard every flavor you could think of. They didn't have any of those in Italy, but I'm hoping that they go international next because they could use a few of those over there. Also brought to you by BetOnline. It's the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. The earliest odds and to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds from everything football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC, MMA. Head to BetOnline to get in on the action with America's most trusted online site for wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. So, DJ, I don't know, man. What's your perspective? How have the last couple of games been going for the Wizards? How are you feeling about things?
I mean, look, I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, we're right where I think most of us kind of expected us to be already. Bilal had a one down game. I can't recall which one that was, but then came back, had a pretty decent game.
Mm-hmm.
Kuz came back.
I think his bad game was against the Grizzlies. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yep. Okay. And then coming back into it, right? I mean, Kuzma came back. Kuz was Kuz. Sometimes I think coming back from an injury and then trying to gel when it's a few games that have already been happening, and especially the young boys have been doing their thing.
Yep.
But I mean, again, we're still seeing some good games from Sarr, from Bilal, from Keyshawn George, right? His shot is starting to fall a little bit more now. Bub Carrington, dog from B-more, right? It's like and I have to always say that because I just love saying that he's a dog because he plays like. But I mean, the team, as far as the young guys, like the team's rolling, but just as expected, they're losing a few quarters, and that's what ends up doing them in the game. Turnovers continue to be something that plagues us, but you're taking the good with the bad for the season. That's just how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's well said, and it's just from what I gathered, there's been a little more of the vets taking a more active role, maybe the last game or so here, and that's, I don't know, ruining what was otherwise a perfect tank for me. The couple Keyshawn games of him starting and going for double-digit points in 3 in a row there. It was like, yes, like this is exactly what we want. All 4 young guys are out there getting minutes, and they're losing games, and I don't have to watch people playing shit basketball. Like this is perfect as far as like total, historically bad record tank jobs can go. But they're 2-7 this year. We got the 2 wins over Atlanta. I hope they play Atlanta 2 more times just so they get a few wins and get close to the over-under. Playing the Spurs later tonight. So this is the game we're going to talk about here. It is an 8 p.m. start Eastern time. The Spurs are 5-6, which is a little interesting. I have not watched any real Spurs basketball this year, so I'm less well equipped to do this one because I'm a little behind after missing the last week. But just going through a little bit of things here, like the team split last year. There was one good Koulibaly game, one good Wembanyama game from what I remember. San Antonio's won 2 of its last 3 games, and Wembanyama led all scorers in their most recent game with 34 points and 14 rebounds. And Chris Paul is like doing some things. And one of the things I think about looking at this reinvigorated Chris Paul is like, damn, maybe the Wizards shouldn't have traded him and tried to get him to play last year, because that might have been like the ultimate, table setter for some of those young guys. But kind of is what it is. So the Wizards are going into the game tonight. They are an underdog with the betting, odds makers here. The Spurs are -450 to win the game. The spread is 9.5 points. kind of interesting. I feel like the Wizards could definitely hang in this one. We'll see if you go when we go supernova here, but the over under is 22.4.5 points per game. I'm taking the over. There's no way to me that this game is anything less than like 125 to 135 or something like that. That's my hunch,
Oh, for
but
sure, for sure.
yeah. Okay, I'm glad I'm not crazy there. So like, I mean, maybe not. We'll see how it goes, but let's just get right into it, DJ. Like, what is the matchup you are most looking forward here? I've been thinking about it since you teased that, so I need to hear it.
Glad Sar versus Wemby. You can't. It's kind of like having you know the test version. I don't know if you guys are ever IT, right? You have what's a test, and then you have what's in production and prod,
Sure.
right? So it's like the finished product is Wemby, right? But then you have the prod, there's something that's in development, and you see SAR, and you're thinking, there's a little bit of our pre-production there, right? So
Yep.
you see something like that, and you just tell yourself that, man, I can't wait to see the battle of the French behemoths. Like, just what's about to go down here? Is there going to be some furniture moving? Is it going to be all friendly countrymen? Like, what's going to happen here, right? So that's what I'm going to be paying attention to all night. I don't even care if how many points Wemby gets. He's going to have to earn every single last one of the points. And I want to see Sar make him earn every single last one of them points, right? I get the whole Bilal and Wemby friendship, and that's well known and documented. Kind of teeing off a little bit of Brad and who else am I thinking? Brad and from the Celtics, but their friendship, right? It's kind of giving off that vibe.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jason Tatum. Yeah.
Jason Tatum, yeah, Brad and Jason Tatum, right? It's kind of giving off that friendship a little bit, but no, I want to see some. Hey, look, we're countrymen, but it's about to go down tonight.
Yeah, that's gonna be kind of the interesting thing here for me is like, can he just be competitive the whole time? And I think with Sar, you're seeing a little bit of like just sort of a mixed bag. There's a lot of real highs defensively. There's some lows offensively. One of these last two games, again, I only watched sort of the recaps after, but I remember him being particularly bad in one of them. And Wembanyama is also like as hard as he is to stop, he is also a tough matchup for someone like that. And for Sar, like this is a real test for where your offense is at. If you could score anything on Wembanyama, like I would try to be physical with him, and you've got to be able to put a body into him to even get over, his extended reach there. And that's not really been Sar's game, but it wouldn't shock me if we see Wembanyama like block a Sar 3-point attempt or something like that tonight. And then the other one is going to be interesting is like, Chris Paul is what he is, but the other rookie is getting some minutes for the Spurs right now. And that's Steph Castle that a lot of Wizards fans, myself included, liked. And he's played 31 minutes in their last game, had 10 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. And he is already a dog defensively for them. So the Castle Bub matchup, I think, is going to be really interesting to see. And, I'm just excited about that particular one, but like a Devin Vassell matched up with Bilal Coulibaly would be fun. Vassell had 12 points in 21 minutes in their last game. We'll see what that sort of looks like here. I guess, DJ, what should my answer to that be? Like, I can't go with the same one you went with, but I don't even know. Like, there's just kind of a weird mix of people and positions. Like, should I be excited
Yeah,
to see?
because go ahead. No, you're right because the star is Wemby, right? And let's not think to ourselves that we may not see more than a few possessions where it's not Sar or Wemby, but Bilal. Especially if Sar decides to bring in a court, there has to be a sense of pride and Bilal. Like, no, you're not going to do that, right? I'm going to pick you up half court, and we're going to make you come all the way. Those guys, they're again, it's a Brad and Tatum where Brad used to try to guard Tatum, and Tatum would just crush him. So I think we're going to see a little bit of that. Maybe a few times, right? There could be Bilal on Paul on CP, right? We might see that a little bit. I just think the other guys, maybe if Castle comes in, same thing, right? I know I'm kind of all over the place here. I'm not exactly picking one matchup, but I think that kind of speaks more to how we believe in Bilal and different matchups that he may have to just switch on to. Right. So I think you're going to really see Bilal active on maybe multiple different players tonight.
I've got it. I've got the matchup we really all need to see. The starting small forward for the San Antonio Spurs, Julian Champagnie, needs to be matched up with his brother for the Wizards, who doesn't play at all, Justin Champagnie. I I don't know, just be funny to see a little brother on brother matchup there. But this is a weird starting five they're going with for the Spurs recently. They're going Castle, Paul, Wembanyama, Champagny, and Harrison Barnes. And both Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell are coming off the bench. And Vassell's only played about 21 minutes in each of their last two games. Now he's averaging, 15 and a half points in those games. But that's surprising to me that that's the core. Like Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell are much better than Julian Champagny and Harrison Barnes at this point in their careers to me. So
Devin Vassell just got paid too, didn't he?
He did, yeah. So bringing him off the bench is weird. I don't. He's not listed as nursing an injury or anything like that. So that's strange. Just speaking of the injuries, Sadiq Bey obviously still out. Malcolm Brogdon's still out. Rashawn Holmes is questionable due to illness in this game. Malachi Branham out of Ohio State, the guard for the Spurs, is questionable with an ankle. Trey Jones is out with an ankle, and Jeremy Sohan is out with a thumb. So I get like maybe you put Barnes in to have a power forward who can stretch the floor next to Wemby or whatever, or Champagny, like one of the two of them. But Keldon Johnson played the four for them a lot last year. Maybe it wasn't his natural position, but I would have gone to that in a pinch before I'd gone with one of these other guys. So I don't know, not really sure what the Spurs are fully up to there. So that'll be a really interesting one to monitor. I think the matchups are going to kind of play themselves out. Any other storylines here that you're looking forward to seeing, DJ? Like, for you, the Spurs are 5-6. Like, do you see them as a team that tries to make the playoffs? Like, or is this a team that you could see, potentially ending up in the Cooper Flags sweepstakes with the Wizards?
Absolutely not. I think they're, I think with Wemby and the talent he is, and the Spurs already had talent. What they really needed was a big, and then you go and get yourself a CP3 to help facilitate. It's kind of very light. I don't want anybody going away with this, but when Chris Paul went to the Clippers and all of a sudden it's Lob City, and you're really seeing that. There's a couple of clips out there already where you're seeing CP3 just throw it up in the air like he doesn't care and just knows that Wemby's gonna come down, and I don't even know if he called an alley-oop because his toes are still touching the ground. But either way, no, I think they're going for playoffs, right? Maybe at the lowest to play in, right? Probably looking for that seventh or eighth seed. I can't see CP3 going into a situation because there was rumors that the Lakers wanted him, right? But he chose to go to the Spurs. So, and there has to be a reason for that. He probably believed that that young team, like he did maybe with OKC, they could make some sort of run to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. It'd be weird if they didn't. It would be maybe the only reason you do that is if like Wembanyama gets hurt, and then it's like, okay, let's pack it in for the year. Looking at it, Devin Vassell, I realize this now, is coming back from an injury. He's only played 2 games so far this season, both off the bench. Okay. So clearly on a minutes restriction here if he's only playing 21-ish minutes a game so far. So that makes sense. Keldon Johnson coming off the bench every game at the expense of them starting Sohan and Barnes every game is a little strange to me because he's just better than both of those guys. Keldon Johnson was like a guy I wanted in Washington for a long time, even directly out of Kentucky. So a little weird to me. A couple other interesting names for Wizards fans to pay attention to on this Spurs team. Blake Wesley, guard that came out of Notre Dame a few years ago, would be interesting to see. And then a Seton Hall big man, Sandro Mama Kelishvili. I had to double check to make sure I didn't blow that, but he was a dude I really liked in college. Loved him every time I've seen him in summer league. He's only averaging like 9 minutes a game for the Spurs, but that's a dude that as like a stretch big, I really think could play in the NBA. So be interesting to see if a guy like that ends up, a free agent or wwhatever. Could he end up the Wizards, in their radar? And then they've got Sidi Sissoko, another French player, so only played in 6 games and averaged like 2 minutes. So I don't know, free City. Could he end up on the Wizards here too? So Keldon Johnson guarding Jordan Poole, or sorry, not Keldon Johnson. Steph Castle guarding Jordan Poole. I think is one I'm excited about. The old man Harrison Barnes against Kyle Kuzma, not a matchup I'm particularly excited about. And it's funny, like for so many years, I would have been the guy that said Kyle Kuzma is such a better player than someone like Harrison Barnes, but Barnes might actually be a better fit for this Wizards team. And now that I'm thinking about it, this is probably why they start him. Of like, this is a guy that absolutely knows his role, is like a stone cold vet. You can play him in all these minutes. He'll space the floor at a reasonable clip. He's just going to like get rebounds, move the ball around, and just like be a role player and not come in to be a star at the expense of taking opportunities away from Wembanyama. So that's got to be probably what's kind of driving their decision making there.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely right. I mean, the thing is, you know what you're getting with Harrison Barnes, right? I
Yep.
mean, and the matchup of him and Kuz, honestly, probably nothing too exciting at this point in time, right? You kind of know what Kuz is, and you kind of know what Harrison Barnes is. So, I mean, that's not getting my blood boiling to watch that matchup, right? And so, yeah.
Yeah, it's just sad that we're at that point, 9 games now, 10th game of the season here. Like it's just that's just not what you want if you're a Wizards fan at this point. Like we've got to have veteran guys that sort of know what they're here for and understand the assignment. And Kyle Kuzma coming back in and going 7 of 18 is actually probably a better performance on paper against the Rockets. Jordan Poole 5 of 14, 1 of 5 from 3. A little bit of the like old Jordan Poole maybe rearing his head there a little bit from a shot selection perspective. And then the Magic game that sounded like a real adventure. Choose your own adventure, maybe. You had Jordan Poole go 8 of 19, 3 of 10 from 3. Like he was never gonna, shoot 75% from 3 for the whole year, but you can live with that. A reasonably decent 24 points a game, but only 1 assist and a couple turnovers in that one. So just you need the vets to like get back to let's do this everybody eats approach. Let's set these young guys up to be successful. You've got Keyshawn George finally making some shots. He was 4 of 8 from 3 in that game for 15 points. Like I just don't want to see anything hold young guys like that back. And for me, he's still really probably been the most interesting one of the young guys to watch. And as soon as Kuzma comes back, he's now 3 of 9. And George only finishes with 8 points after coming off, kind of a heater run right there. So I'd like to see them go back to reestablishing him tonight and getting him those extra like 5-6 minutes a game that he was getting while Kuzma was out.
Let me ask you this, Matt.
Sure.
If you were to choose one of the young guys to have a breakout game tonight, who do you think that's going to be?
Breakout game, Bub Carrington. I'm just feeling a Bub game. I don't know. We're due for a good Bub game here. Who you got?
Yeah, no, that's exactly who I was thinking. I mean, you think about Sarr, he's going to have his hands full, right? Keyshawn, gotta love that.
Cat loves Wembanyama apparently. So.
Yep. As soon as I said Wemby,
yep.
There she goes. But yeah, I think Bub has the opportunity, right? I think his matchups tonight, right? It's going to be fun to watch, and he might come out and really give us something big tonight, right? So it's a big game. So I think that's going to be pretty interesting to see.
I want to see him try to take Chris Paul's beating heart out of his chest. Like that's what you want to see from someone like Bub. Like Chris Paul is a dick on the court as much as everybody loves the State Farm commercials. So just going at him immediately, I think would be a really cool thing to see. Just a couple things. Let's check in on the chat here a little bit. Gregor Castillo, my Spurs should be good. What are you doing, man? No, this is Wizards talk. Come on, buddy. Like we can't have that. Although the Spurs can be like a good second team, I guess, if you got to root for a Western Conference team. Speedy Sloth said, give Kuz a DMP. I think a lot of Wizards fan base probably feels the same way. Highlight Haven, that's my guy Matthew. Shout out to him for doing an amazing recap of the JMU game the other night. Follow him on Twitter. This man will be literally on ESPN 15 years from now. Again, because he's that young that 15 years is still a reasonable expectation for him. OBJ, welcome back, Matt. Appreciate it. Good to be back. Missed y'all. Nomadic Brian, hit the boards, Wizards. Yes, please. Got to rebound against somebody like Wembanyama and put a body on him. Like, I don't know, our 9th grade coach always said butts in their guts. Like, you got to really box out somebody like Wemby because you're not going to outjump him.
Yeah, so don't be surprised if you see Valanciunas tonight too, a lot, right? Just for that purpose, because Wemby does not like he wants to get physical, but right now he still can't handle it, right? So don't be surprised if we see a lot of JV tonight.
Yeah, that'll be interesting too. Can JV get the hook shot off over Wembanyama? I don't know. He seems to get it off of people because he gets a body into him, but Wemby is just so freakish that'll be, pretty interesting.
His pride's gonna get his shot blocked quite a few times tonight.
Yeah,
if that's the case.
Yep. Yeah, might as well go at him. It never makes no sense. Said my biggest problem with Kuz is that he's a ball stopper who kills pace of play. It's not even his shots; it's that he kills the entire flow of the offense. Yeah, I agree. 18 shots is fine in the flow of the offense. Don't disagree. It's so funny, man. Like that first year, I'm like, this dude is the ultimate. Like, utility big man, utility forward here to move the ball around. He was creating for people. They ran no plays for him. And now it's like ISO, ISO, ISO. Like, don't play like you're Kevin Durant. That doesn't work. So I'm with you. It never makes no sense. For Kenny, Wizards have to get better at rebounding and turnovers. And Set said, I want to see Bilal attack the Spurs every time they play. Hopefully the teammate relationship with Wemby turns him up. Yeah, DJ and I are totally with you on that one. We want to see these guys like go for each other's necks.
Yeah, that's all. Like, I get it, countrymen, French connection, whatever you want to call it. But hey, we're on different teams right now. I'm coming out you. Right, the same way when Kobe went at Paul Gasol during the Olympics, it's like, hey, you're my buddy, you're my friend, but I'm gonna send you a message during the first play, and that's exactly what he did. Now, I'm not saying move any furniture out there on the court, right? I'm just saying, like, hey, let's, need to see Bilal Sarr get active on Wemby.
We need a Bilal poster over Wembanyama. He's had a couple recently. I keep seeing shots of that. Those went international. But if you put Wemby on a poster, like, that gets the Wizards on SportsCenter, and that probably only happens for the wrong reasons most of the time. So be interesting to see if they go at each other. DJ, any last thoughts here as we wrap this up?
I mean, the immediate thought that you just put in my head about, seeing the thought of Bilal putting Wemby on a poster, that's amazing right there. I need that. That's my final thought, what you just put in my head. That's it.
There we go. I hope we can manifest that into the universe here tonight. So, we'll see. A last comment from It Never Makes No Sense. Did you see that Poole, Bilal, Kispert, and JV are in our only positive plus minutes lineup with more than 10 minutes? I mean, the rest of the guys are rookies, and then Kuzma, who's been terrible. So it doesn't really surprise me that the veteran group there has some. I mean, Bilal's not a veteran, but he's also not a rookie, and he plays defense. So not totally shocked, but the bar is really low. And I think a lot of those minutes that group played together were especially at the beginning of the year here, where Poole was on like absolute heaters together and kept them single-handedly in a couple of these quarters, basically. So I'll be interested to see if that maintains over the course of the season. I don't think that that's happened as much recently, but again, I wasn't watching as actively the last couple games, so we'll see what that looks like. Poole, need him to stay active defensively. Bilal, you need him to make some shots and be aggressive offensively with that group. Kispert's got to make shots or he gives you very limited value. And JV, like, I mean, actually, I think some of that makes sense. The JV Poole chemistry was pretty good. So, and then you get Kispert provide a little extra spacing around those guys, kind of run some two-man games. So I'm not too shocked about the offensive end of that.
No, but how does plus and minus even work? Maybe if you don't know, maybe we should bring somebody on here one day just to explain the science of plus and minus, because there are some of these games where, the eye test tells you something completely different, where those first couple of games where Jordan Poole, like you said, single-handedly kind of keeping niggas in these games. Some of these games where, Bilal is going off and, defensively you're seeing Sarr, do really well. And then you see that the plus or minus is in the negative. So I don't know. Maybe I just don't understand the plus or minus take sometimes.
It's just the aggregate, right? So it's when that group is out there together, how do they perform relative to the people they're out there against? And you can have a great group plus or minus, and one guy, like, it's like the guy on the group project, right, who doesn't do anything, but he still gets the A at the end. Like, that guy's getting cooked and everybody's hunting him, but we had a pretty good quarter overall. So he skates by with a good plus or minus. There was one game earlier this year where I thought Corey was like terrible, but he had like a 0 plus minus, and all the guys he played his minutes with were like -7, it seemed like. So it was like, he wasn't better than them, but he did okay because he was out there for one good stretch or whatever the case may be too. So I think that's why the way It Never Makes No Sense is looking at it as groups of lineups together is probably a better way to do it than individual plus minus. But even then, over such a small sample size, there's some, there's some fool's gold there too.
I wonder if there's ever been like a positive lineup that just completely sucks. I don't know. It's almost like I don't even know anymore.
I think for small sample sizes, there's some that it's definitely ugly, but they do okay and they stay afloat for whatever reason, or they play against backups enough that, maybe they skate by. But you watch it, you're like, that did not work, whatever that group was. And it's definitely an interesting thing to pay attention to.
Actually, one last thing before we close out. Sure. Wasn't that 3-guard lineup from back in the day, not to bring up any Wizards trauma, wasn't that 3-guard lineup a positive?
Yeah, I mean, that was why Scott Brooks kept going to them, right? It's just one of those things where like they didn't really have any better options. So having 3 guards that could all pass, dribble, shoot, and I don't know, like Ish didn't really shoot, but at least was a threat enough to space the floor that worked. And then you had the old school Robin Lopez hook shots, and they kind of just orbited around him in the post. So they went with that for lack of a better option, and that should tell you how lean things here were in Washington. That those were the teams we were trying to win with, was with 3 guys under 6'3" playing together.
So Wizards.
All right, now that we made it sad, we've just got to just hey, back to Bilal posterizing Wemby. Like, we're putting that back into the universe. We'll check in here with you guys post game and see if it actually came true or not. Appreciate you guys sticking with us here pregame. We'll be back here with you in a couple more hours. Until then, have fun. Go Wizards. Old guys, stop chucking stuff. We don't want to see that. And we're presented by betonline.ag. We'll catch you all here in a little bit.